In Book 8, Sunset and Sunrise, Chapter 76 of Middlemarch, Dorothea and Lydgate discuss the management of the fever hospital now that Bulstrode is leaving town. He tells her he can no longer manage the hospital either, since he must also leave. She knows he's done nothing wrong. He tells her what happened, and she promises to spread the truth among the people she knows. He also explains his marital troubles and gladly gives her permission to speak with his wife. Dorothea writes a check to Lydgate for £1,000 so that he can repay Bulstrode and determines to bring it with her when she calls on Rosamond. In Chapter 77, Dorothea has now heard about Ladislaw's connection to Bulstrode's first wife and the ugly things being said about his heritage, but it has no effect on her feelings. Dorothea pays her call to Rosamond and spots Rosamond and Will, in which she is teary-eyed and he is clasping her hands and speaking to her in a low-toned fervor. Dorothea is startled, drops off her letter to Lydgate, and quickly runs off. In Chapter 78, Will is appalled by Dorothea's sudden arrival and departure, knowing how the scene between himself and Rosamond was misconstrued. He viciously berates Rosamond. Lydgate gets home, he finds his wife ill in bed and assumes that her emotional state had something to do with Dorothea's visit. In Chapter 79, Ladislaw has no choice but to call on Lydgate in the evening without telling him he'd been at his house earlier in the day. Rosamond remains ill in her room and Lydgate catches Ladislaw up on the gossip. Ladislaw says nothing of Bulstrode's offer of money. Lydgate tells Will he plans to settle in London. Will feels incredibly sad for Lydgate. When Lydgate tells Dorothea he's leaving, she seizes the opportunity to tell him she thinks well of him. And he's entirely grateful to finally hear some kind of good words from a woman. As she has faith in Lydgate's goodness, Dorothea continues to believe in Will, despite the nasty gossip that's swirling around his name. No wonder she's bowled over when she witnesses the scene between him and Rosamond. Gossip about Will and Rosamond was brought to her attention before Ladislaw left town. Here seems to be proof that he's having an illicit relationship with a doctor's wife. Dorothea feels scalded and jealous.